Hi there. I wanted to speak a little bit about energy levels and excitability levels, anxiety levels, anger levels, fear levels, anything disruptive that elevates our calmness level or our energy level. So when we get stirred up or triggered or scared or anxious, our energy level goes up and we're not calm, we're not grounded, we're not relaxed. And when things get busy inside of us emotionally, it's like it gets loud. We can't hear through all of the stirred up energy in us, the stirred up emotion in us. We might be hearing something that isn't true from our system that is trying to protect us from whatever's threatening, and that could be a misperception and an exaggeration of reality. So we aren't even hearing reality clear, we aren't seeing reality clearly, we aren't sensing clearly. We're sensing it's kind of like what the autoimmune system does when you develop an autoimmune disease. It's hyper vigilant. The system starts attacking itself, and that's destructive to our health. It's trying to help us, but it's on overload. And when we get stirred up or triggered or upset, we function on a sped up we speed up, and we're functioning faster and more exaggerated than reality. So we become unclear. We can't clearly perceive reality. And so the point is to notice when this happens to us, to start watching for that. But you have to be willing to own it. You have to be willing to say, I'm freaking out, I'm triggered, I'm furious, you can feel it in your body. You can feel the blood, you can feel the adrenaline, you can feel the cortisol, the hormones that are kicking in to put you in a more superhuman mode to strengthen you to overcome the threat. And we just have to start sensing into ourselves, to notice ourselves so that we can regulate ourselves, because this comes down to self-regulation, and we don't always learn how to do that. And we come from families that may have a significant family member in them that has tendencies to go into an exaggerated, a dramatic modality, and we learn that, and they learned it. It's kind of like breathing it in, like osmosis. You don't realize it's the norm, even though it doesn't feel normal. It's not safe and relaxed and healthy and good. But when it happens all the time, that becomes the norm, so you don't even know what's going on. You're not aware of what's happening, and they're not aware of what's happening. So, a country that's full of immigrants that had tough times in their original countries, whatever generation that was in our particular circumstance, those things come with them, and they come here to survive. So they're not necessarily nuancing their emotional state all the time. They're nuancing their survival modes. And so the emotional problems from the previous country and society come with them. And so it's almost like they can't afford to deal with that because they've got more basic stuff to deal with. But as the generations continue, they don't have to go through the survival modes that their grandparents went through or their great-grandparents went through. And so they can start paying attention to more refined aspects of themselves, and they have to catch up on, you could call it baggage that was brought over from the other country or from the other family situation or political situation. I'm not saying that any of this is invalid. It's all valid, but it's a big amount of stuff to manage and put in order, and it takes sometimes generations for us to get to that. Like, I could afford that kind of attention where my father and his father, my grandfather, they were working on making a living. And anyway, they were different types of people than I am. And even, it's not just generational. It also depends on what type of person you are and what your personal ingredients are and what you're geared for and what your karma is and what you're all about. And that can be different from sibling to sibling. So it's not just the generational issue. But the generational issues show up in us. My issues show up in my children, to some degree. I'm passing down dysfunctional things that haven't been ironed out yet. I don't know if anyone has everything ironed out. I don't know if you ever reach that point, but I think it's definitely possible to make so much headway that things function very well, even though you're still an imperfect human. That's part of perfectly imperfect. So anyway, the point I want to get to is, how do we create peace for ourselves and for those around us? But you've got to be able to do it for yourself first, really. And sometimes you can do it for others without being able to do it for yourself, and you learn through your ability to do it for others. Like to nurture children, you can learn to love yourself by being a nurturer of children. You realize, I can nurture myself the way I nurture them, because I need it too, and I don't have it fully. I never got it fully. And so it can work that way. So one of the things that I've recently learned over the past years is how silence can be so healing, and it can be a moment, 3 minutes. If you're with someone and there's conflict and you say to them, I want us to take 1 to 2 to 3 minutes of just stopping our back and forth with each other and just be quiet. I just want us to be quiet for 2 to 3 minutes, even 1 minute, whatever they're willing to do. But it's just amazing. You need to try it. But I can tell you, in the times I've done that with different people, and with myself included, of course, in each of those situations, it's very peaceful. When the arguing and the disagreeing, when trying to be right stops and it's just quiet, quiet is peaceful. And it resets your brain. Because arguing, like I said, it brings everything up to a high pitch and a very loud, noisy place. Therefore, the perception isn't clear. Therefore, we make mistakes. Therefore, we can't find the answers. Even when we're trying so hard to find the answers and we can't find the answers. So we get quiet. We might fall asleep and sleep for the rest of the night. And we might wake up. I mean, this happened to me. You wake up very at peace. Like, I had a night like that once, and I just got in bed so uncomfortable and so anxious and upset. And I realized I can't find the answer. I'm going to stop trying. It was like a real surrender, and I went right to sleep. There was no more twitching and I want to use the word rajasic, like very active energy in my body, very unpeaceful. No, I just surrendered, and in that, I'm really knowing There's no use trying to be in my head looking for an answer because it's not possible. And and that made me very peaceful, and I just went to sleep and I woke up peaceful. And I woke up quiet. And that way I was able to solve what was bothering me that night. It was a process. It wasn't a one-day solution or a 1-minute solution, but I made a major step, a really valuable step in many ways, because I was peaceful and I was quiet and I was open and I was loving and I was willing and I felt good and I wasn't in the battle anymore. And another thing I've learned, that when I'm in the battle, and it always kind of shows up when I'm ready to go to sleep, when I'm in the battle and I don't want to be in the battle. And so I look at the floor and I say, I'm in here and I want to be over here. I want to be out of what I'm in. And the desire to be out of it allows me to take myself out of it. I'm like, I don't want to do this. It's just like, I can't find the answer. It's a surrender to be out of it. So I go over here and I'm peaceful and I'm quiet. I leave what I don't want to be in. Even though it's all going on inside me, I go, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not participating. I don't want this. This gives me exactly what I don't want. And so I take myself out to a quiet moment. I want a quiet moment. And that leads to another quiet moment. Like, I have the capacity, and I'm not just saying I'm saying we all. We have the capacity to say, in this moment, I'm not going to think about anything for 1 moment, for 10 seconds. It's like saying, I quit, and meaning it and doing it. And providing yourself with silence. And if a thought comes, you go, there's a thought, I'm not going to touch it because I don't want it right now. I just want nothingness. I want zero. I want peace. And it's a really good exercise. We can do it wherever we are, no matter what we're doing. We can be, when I'm feeding the goats, and I want that. I'm still feeding the goats, but I'm choosing to feed them in quiet, with no thinking. It's not that somebody else has to leave us alone. We have to leave ourselves alone. We have to stop all the brain activity and you don't have to be with somebody else to create unrest. We keep it going within ourselves. We keep it going on within ourselves. And we can learn to stop that just by practicing in little chunks, in little pieces. Whenever we need it, we can provide it. We can learn how to calm ourselves down. And by stopping talking, if you're in an upset situation with someone and the words are becoming fighting words and upset words and criticizing words and condemning words and unhappy words and mean words and sharp words and hurtful words, you don't have to continue that. If you notice it, you just say, you own that you're upset. You say, I'm upset. I need to be quiet. I need to calm down. I'm stopping talking now. And I need this for myself. I don't want to contribute to anything harmful to you or to me. So I have to be quiet now. And just being quiet initiates a process of calming down, quitting the war, because that's a war. And it's up to you to decide, do you want to be involved in a war? Do you want to be responsible for a war? Do you want to be a contributor? Do you want to be a participant? Do you want to be warlike? Do you want to get good at that? Because I'm pretty good at that, and I don't want to be good at that anymore. I want to be good at peace. I don't know where I learned it, but I have that capacity, and I can't really say it serves me, because it always creates destruction and harm, even if I win the battle. I don't really win because I've just committed harm. And that if I hurt you, I hurt me right away at the same time, simultaneously. So there's got to be another way. I mean, humans have been fighting and pillaging one another forever. And it's time we find a different way. Just like we're polluting the planet, we are using fossil fuels that create unhealthy planet. Well, we've got to find another way. And I say we have to find another way within ourselves, with ourselves, to create peace, to live in peace. Not to say we know everything and we're perfect and we're doing it all right, to be learners and growers. Just like children are growing, well, we don't have to stop growing. We don't have to stop learning. There's plenty of stuff we haven't learned in terms of our own selves and our own peace and our own well-being and our own capacities to be a person amidst other people and to be a person just within our own self, with our own self. We mostly live with ourselves all 24/7. From day one to the end of our life. We're really living with ourselves. And do we have the capacity to do it? And how's it going? Is it going well? Are we enjoying our life with ourselves? Do we enjoy ourselves? A friend of mine's 3.5-year-old came in and told her, "Mommy, I love myself." I'm like, wow. I don't know how many humans on the earth live their life having the experience of loving themselves. And he's been in a very tumultuous life. And despite that, something's going right for him. Some kind of love is coming across to him. Some kind of real nurturing and real communication and real caring is coming across to him, although he's grown up in the middle of a war. He really has. And it's not over yet even. But at the same time, he's getting something really authentic and really beautiful that's allowing himself to feel himself and the love he has for himself. So anyway, there'll be more to this video, but I just wanted to say, I think that's my primary goal in living with myself and in living with others and in living with, there's so much suffering and imbalance around in all the people that I know that are going through so much. And that's the beginning, is to have this goal for ourselves of having a peaceful state of mind and a peaceful state of being, mentally and physically. So there's much more to say that I will continue to talk with you about if you're interested. I do provide life coaching, counseling sessions, and if you're interested, kind of looks like I'm just this head floating on the screen, but it's really getting dark, and that's why it looks so bizarre. It's not a good look. But anyway, you can go to my website, www.innerpeace, PIECEPEACE, innerpeacepeace.com. And my name is Yama Goodman, and you can get in touch with me to have a session, and you can also message me on Facebook, which is where this video is going to be placed. It'll also be placed on YouTube, and I'll have my contact info there. So if this is on YouTube, can you please subscribe to the channel and like so that this video can be seen by more people. Thank you so much, and I will be back with you at some point soon. Take good care.